I have a pile here of my first boards, or cardboards, better said, the beginnings of making them. You can actually see this cardboard is actually from a cigarette package that we had plenty of them here. It was called St. George cigarettes. And it was from Russians. It's actually written here in Russian or Ukrainian. I'm not completely sure if it's they are very similar. We say they are from Russia, but most probably they are from Ukraine. This is the cardboard from those cigarette packages. I was a smoker after I quit working in 2013. I didn't have money to buy cigarettes anymore. It was an investment month by month, and I couldn't afford it. So I quit smoking pretty much because of literally lack of money. So that was the trigger to quit smoking. And I did quit. And from 2013, right now is 2025, 12 years of non-smoking. But I did smoke for 8 years, I believe. So 8 years in continuously, and very, very nasty cigarettes, very without the filter. In the 90s were those times where you buy Karpats and other brands without any kind of filter. It was just paper foil and tobacco inside, and that's it. And they were super strong, super strong. And I learned to smoke with those cigarettes, with those very, very strong cigarettes. Enough about cigarettes. So this is the cardboard from those packages, from those St. George. No, I don't have any kind of original left anymore. So this was in the 90s, 95, maybe 94, when I started to make this kind of cardboard circuits. I was playing, I was trying stuff. The internet was starting to show up, at least in my region, in my country. And we all heard of it. We were going into private businesses that was providing 1 hour of internet, and you had to pay a little bit, and you had access to internet a little bit. Not like today, 24 hours. I was amazed back then when I was young, when I was paying for the internet for 1 hour per week. I could afford 1 hour per week of internet. Sometimes even 1 month, 1 full month, I couldn't. I was just forgetting about it. I didn't have access to any kind of internet until I get my computer. After I get my computer in 2003, it was my first computer. It was older than 2003 new versions that they were appearing back then, way more older. I want to show you the history of my cardboards. This one that I'm holding here, you can see it's a clear evidence how I was working in the very beginning when I was bending this sheet of metal, and I was working directly on the cardboard, and especially here in the margin, you see this is cut off from here, and also here as well, you see this little thing, because the cardboard was burned so hard and it got out very easily, fall out. So I learned my lesson, and I have many like this. The experience was not only this one. In my experience, I had many more burned cardboards like this one, and I learned my lesson not to prepare the metal, prepare it here on the cardboard after it's catched. So to prepare it in the air and then insert it into the cardboard and then add the component, but not prepare it here on the cardboard. That's the key. So that's what I'm showing right now. I'm showing a little bit of my history, and I have not that many. You may think this is much cardboards or circuits, but they are not really that many. I did way more, many more circuits than what you are this pile that you are seeing here. Like I'm saying, I am an artist, and I am not an electronist actually. I choose the best way to make a circuit and to learn. That was the driving force for me, at least, how to learn from circuits, with circuits, making the circuits, because this is the only way that you can learn, making them. That was the direction that I made. And right now I don't need these boards. They are just completed from the components. They have no components anymore. I put back those components and reuse them across time, and now I find them in this box. It was visible, but kind of in the back of the shelf. And now when I put my hands on it, I was searching for something, and when I put my hands on it, I said, well, it's time to disassemble and to recycle all these already cut pieces of metal that I can solder on them and reuse them, repurpose them on my future circuits. And this is what I'm doing right now. I'm repurposing, I'm recycling the metal parts. The cardboards, I don't need them. I have a ton of cardboards from new cardboards. And to compare, let me show you. This is how old cardboards are looking like. They are very yellow. They got yellow with time, very yellow. So to compare with a very white cardboard, you see how yellow is this from time. And probably the cardboard itself, it was a little bit more brownish in the beginning, maybe like this, but it's still a big difference. This is yellow with time. And I'm not sure how exposed to the sun was. Anything, if you are exposed to the sun, it will get burned very slightly, and it will get yellow and then brown, then black in the very end. But usually the most of things that you expose to the sun, they will get yellow, brown, and brownish. Most of the time they will get brown. I'm not sure if these cardboards were so much exposed to the sun to get this tint of yellow. I have no idea. This very white one compared with this is more recent actually. I made this circuit. I wanted to test a filament lamp that I had in my arsenal. If I was looking more carefully inside that lamp, I could see it was already burnt, but I didn't. So I made a circuit for it to drive it. This is a driver for a filament lamp, a special one. I never seen that model before. And of course with the help of some real electronics, not not like me. And this was plugged to 40 volts, and it was powering everything, and it didn't work. Here is anode, and this is cathode. This was the pads for that lamp to link it. And the circuit works because I did check it, but the lamp was damaged already. So I made the circuit for it, and that's it. One time only. This was one time only circuit, and it was relatively recent, probably in 2020, 2021, the year I made this one. And it remained here in the pile of circuits that I have to disassemble. And that's it. All the story about everything. This is a foil of copper. So basically what I'm having here, they represent earlier experiments when I was not very sure how good is this idea of working on the cardboards, to use the cardboards as a background or as a solid medium to construct the circuits. And here on this cardboard you are seeing very wide elements, pads, and very tiny one, these ones, because I was experimenting with dimensions, and I was very unsure what to use and when to use it. But all these experiments were actually very good lessons. Here as well, I did prepared the metal pad directly on the cardboard and not in my hand, and then applied it there. These burned marks are from me not knowing what to do, what is the best way to do it. So this way of working on cardboard was actually before knowing the existence of this prototyping boards. Relatively late I discovered this was an option, and most importantly, if this was a cheap option, because in the very beginning I believe they were very expensive. And my method with the cardboard was a response to this lack of being able to experiment with electronic components. This is a simple bridge rectifier made from discrete diodes. This is one pad of alternative, this is another pad. So I was putting here the two wires, they were connecting here and here probably, and here I was collecting the positive like that and the negative like that probably. Here I experimented with another layer of insulation, adding a second cardboard over the connections that are open to make short circuits or to put your hand on them. So this layer of protection was a very good idea, and probably this is one of the first experiments that I did very long time ago. It served me very well, this modality of adding a secondary cardboard for protection. And also, as you can see here, I made the first one here, but I didn't put, I was thinking to add two wires from positive and negative, but then I thought maybe it's nicer to have this very obvious way of showing where you collect the positive and negative from this little converter. AC to DC converter pretty much is what it is. But the idea was I wanted to experiment on cheaply, a very extremely cheap way of experimenting. And this was one of the best ideas that I could think of. And trust me on this, these are my ideas. I didn't copy them, and I wasn't told, or I didn't find any kind of inspiration from anybody. No one was working, at least around in my area of people that I knew. I never seen anybody working like this. So this is not a prototype, but the only way that I could think of how to do it very cheaply, and to also to test things and to test components and to test circuits, to learn from them in the same time. That was the main purpose for this mentality, this way of doing things. I hope it's clear right now. Look how I soldered directly on the cardboard, and it is not a good idea. It will burn it, and it will weaken. This very burned cardboard will get very weak, and it will take out, the piece of metal will fly off much more easy when it's burned than when it's new. Look how bad it is. It's very bad. I also experimented with the sizes. This is very thin, and this is very wide, very large. I didn't know what to use at the time. I was experimenting with different kind of metals as well. I was trying to find multiple sources of metal that is solderable. I believe here I was experimenting with gluing the pads, like I glued this transistor adapter. At this point I learned that large pads are ideal to glue. They are very solid. This with 555, I will keep them. I will not dismantle. Yeah, you see Saint. It says here Saint and George. The last evidence. They look easy to take out, but in reality it's not that easy. I'm applying a lot of force, especially for these tiny ones. It is fascinating, I believe, to see how I'm dismantling my old boards, repurpose them, and reuse these pads, because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm reusing these metal pads for future circuits. That's all the reason I'm doing all this, for these metal pads, to reuse them. So this is a more modern circuit that I knew already all the tricks and how to do things better than my original ones. I'm not dismantling all my circuits. I have a lot of circuits that are still mounted, that are still usable on cardboards. As you can see, they are very, very well glued. Very cool. A lot of work to make it, and now I'm just dismantling it. It's better to dismantle it than to throw it away. That's my philosophy. And I will have to actually think on new circuits to repurpose these pads, because I have too many right now. My box is barely closing. But I don't have more left here. I have a few. And mostly they have very large pads, which is good. Oh, very strange shapes. Yeah, you see? Very strange. I did my job with them. Actually, I can repurpose the glue too. I will repurpose everything. This is very, very thick here. Very, very thick. I should use this, because this will break my knife. So remember, these are already scrapped metal that I'm scrapping them again. So they are scrapped, you know, double scrapped. And voila. I was testing cardboards as well. In all this pile of stuff that I'm doing right now, you can see a lot of experimentation along the years, and mostly in my beginnings. So I was experimenting, like I said, with the cardboard thickness. And although this is very thick, this is very strong cardboard from packaging, exterior packaging usually, bigger packages. This is from a pizza cardboard, I believe. And it's a very, very good cardboard, but it is still too thick compared with this one that is you can get it from chocolates, from cigarette cardboard, from pills cardboard, or medicine cardboard. Is much more thinner, and you want to be thinner. This one was a very interesting experiment. I'm not sure what to do with it at this point. I will leave it longer there. This is another double cardboard here. There are two cardboards. I have no idea. I see a one and a two. There are two circuits. I have no idea what I did here. I don't remember it. With this occasion, I am testing how well they are glued as well. So I'm testing many things by doing this exercise, what I'm doing right now. Yeah, you see, the glue was very, very strong. I couldn't actually reach in between the cardboards. Yeah. Let's see. Can I? Yep. That's what I want. Yeah. Here, when you are doing it on the table one by one, is much more harder to unbend it. Here you have a little bit of help from the cardboard itself, so it's a bit easier to unbend it like this. That's why I'm not. I could take them out with the cardboard, but it's a bit more harder to unbend by themselves. Cardboard is helping for the unbending. Yeah, I also learned to avoid actually written or with shapes sides. This side where I'm adding the components is not clean. One single color, either is white or whatever color it is, but to be a uniform surface, this side where I'm adding the components, because I'm adding text, and if I'm having shapes or text already here, like this text that you are seeing here, is very, very extremely hard to read the circuit that I'm having here, and it's a very bad practice, very, very bad. Like I said, I'm mostly using these cardboards. The original thought was to use them as test playgrounds. It's a lot of time, but even if it's a test circuit, it can play a double role. It can be a test circuit, and also it can be a finite circuit that you can actually use practically wherever you want. You can mount it in your home and you can use it for years or even all your life. I have a clear example, the LED wings on my wall. I have a remote control, it's turning the light in my chamber on and off. It's still working, and I built it in 2016, 2019, I don't remember when. So it's having already 6 or 8 years, I have to check it. Functioning in continuously, not from time to time. Every day, all day long, like that. And it is made on cardboard. So when I'm saying longevity, I mean it. This is reinforced. This is very, very, very old. I was testing how to increase the strengthness. I saved this board to remind me in time that I can reinforce it with a piece of metal sheet, a thick metal sheet. You can add even thicker metal, like 2 millimeters. This is not even 1 millimeter, 0.5 millimeter probably, or 0.4, this sheet metal. But it is way, way more stronger than a normal, like this one, you see? This is extremely flimsy. And it's not even large like this. I will put it aside as a reminder. Yeah, you see, St. George. I had quite big trouble in my modern designs with very long pads like this. I'm not using them anymore. I'm using wires. This was also earlier designs, but it's better to use a square or a longer shape a little bit than a square than to use a single long ones like that. It's a waste of metal. Yeah, you see how shitty it is to individually unbend it. Very, very hard. The cardboard is helping you to unbend it. Not much, but good enough. And that's it. I have only these 2 remains. And my fingers, because I pressed a lot with this one, this 3 and this 3, they are hurting me right now because I pressed a lot and it's not easy to unbend. But I'm doing it 1 time per decade. 1 time in 10 years. You know, when I'm revisiting, when I'm repurposing. I'm not doing it that often. 1 or 2 times in my life I'm repurposing my old circuits. All right, another very, very old circuit cardboard. And this is the last one. Because these are glued here, I can hit them up like this. Yeah, all of them. And they are literally flying away. It's a very interesting way. And this is actually some copper pads. And it was a round one that I cut it out in these shapes. Okay, that's it for this board. Cardboard. The cardboard is still good actually. It can be reused, but I have other cardboards. I have a ton of them actually. These top ones are also copper, but very thick. And I can hit them up and melt that glue under them. These thicker ones are a bit of trouble to mount a component on them, but they are quite good after they are glued, after you mount them. They are quite solid, even if they are very thick. Thicker than the rest of the usual stuff that what I'm using. And pretty much that's it. More thicker, bigger ones, I will put them aside. And I will put in the box only the thinner ones. Holy fucking shit, this box is not big enough. This was almost empty, this box, and now it is super full. Let's see now. But if I'm doing that like this, come on, be nice. Okay. Yep, yes, I managed to, but it's super full. Let me see if I can put this here strategically, like that. I will have to think on a very big circuit to repurpose a lot of them. There are too many now. And this is it for this adventure into the world of disassembling and repurposing. Alright, I hope you like it, and see you next time. That's it. Thank you very much. Bye bye.